just double checking everything's working. Audio seems good. If the game is too quiet, let me know. But yeah. This is going to be more of a I talk to you guys, and if you guys have anything to respond, I will still be reading chat, and I will still be responding, but mostly this is going to be, compared to the last one, more me ranting to you guys. So, let's go ahead and enter the mirror dungeon. I've got a tremor team pre-cooked. Woo. Do it. Just a normal mirror dungeon today. I do at some point want to go through the floor 10 through 15 and all that. Hope we get Lucio soon, man. Yeah. It hasn't been that long. The season's still pretty new. I'm not too fussed about having to wait a bit for that. It's not like they're missing or anything. There was never a promised order for them. You would think they'd go in story encounter order, but apparently not. Okay. So, I am surprised that Callisto went to Honglu instead of Merceau. I thought he fit a lot of the Merceau sort of criteria that he gets for IDs. You know, head damage, something covering the eyes, and a personality that doesn't seem like it would fit. Oh, fuck. I fucked up. I thought I had 7 leveled. Oh well. Proxy Dawn, you'll be fine. Okay. So... game balance. That is what I wanted to talk about with today's stream. So, I have talked a lot about the balance of Limbus Company. Generally, you know, pretty bad things. It is certainly not the most balanced of games, and to a degree, that is fine. Ultimately, this is a single-player game, but that does not mean that balance is not necessary. Balance is not necessarily the idea of fairness, rather it is a tool by which to have fun with as a player. Figuring out the best strategies and the best sort of applications of those strategies, it's all important. And having a variety of viable options is important. And that's, you know, what game balance is. You are balancing out all the options so that they are roughly equivalent or at least comparable. And so... So, game balance, yeah, it's never about fairness. It's not actually about fairness. It's about fun. Game balance is always about fun. Even in competitive games, it is not... They do not do it because there needs to be some sort of, you know, competitive aspect to it. They do it because people won't have fun if the game's not balanced. So, ultimately, you know, balance is not the end-all be-all of game design. You can have unbalanced games that are fun. I mean, I like Octopath Traveler, and that game has crazy terrible balance. But when you have a game like Limbus, that is, 1, a live service, so they want you to play it a lot, and 2, it is, you know, a gacha. You are essentially paying to grab these different units, and so balance ensures that you are having fun with all these different units, and that the new units are able to be fun and interesting and powerful without making the old units that you also paid for feel bad. And right now, that is a problem. because of how Limbus does its game design. And really, its unit design. It's very focused on how a unit can contribute to one of the 7 status teams. There are very few units in this game that don't, in some way, want to contribute towards that. There's, you know, some of the Zwei IDs, like Zwei Gregor, do not have these keywords. And, you know, middle identities, while they do not focus heavily on the keywords, they do still have them. But it is not like, yeah. Middle identities, frankly, are one of the best examples of how Limbus IDs can have different goals than just contributing towards the status. But that's not what the majority of the game design would have you doing. Limbus's game design says, throw together, you know, 5 to 7 of the best Tremor IDs, or the best Rupture IDs. And that does not feel fun. And I think, you know, in order to keep this kind of rotational, revolving door of IDs, in order to get rid of that, you need to, you know, have different options, and that's one of the things that balance is meant to do, is, you know, take a look at the opportunity cost and make sure it's roughly balanced. So, where do I want to put this? It is not necessarily about making every ID, you know, equally good. It's about giving each identity a use so that it is never fully overshadowed. Like, if we look at just this Tremor team, let's see. We have Zwei Ishmael, who is a tank. She is quite possibly one of the best tanks in the game. She has a lot of interesting abilities to tank. She has defensive stance, which allows her to not only gain a bunch of aggro, but also intercept regardless of speed. That's very nice. That is a very unique way she does things. And then we have Night Owl and Faint Aroma. These guys are all about follow-up attacks. They do more attacks in a turn than most identities normally would. That gives them a role. Compare that to, say, Molar Office. She does have 3 Tremor Burst on her skill 3s, which does give her a unique use. But other than that, well, actually, this card makes her a little more interesting. But in terms of balance, her role in the team is Tremor Bursts, and basically Tremor Bursts only. And that is not going to survive going forward. Even if she has an interesting kit, which she does, she has a fairly interesting kit, everything she does is something that a future ID can do just as good as, if not better than, at a later date. There is nothing too unique about her. And part of balance, you know, is opportunity cost. It is finding something more interesting for these units to do, so that these units are not just thrown away. Because really, that's my biggest issue with Limbus's balance, is that it makes older identities not fun to play. It also essentially makes the design of enemies worse. Because, again, this is a gacha game. You can pull almost any identity, whether it be a, you know, Season 7 identity or a Season 1 identity, and as a new player, that's what you've got. It's going to be a while before you can really make your collection. And eventually, you are going to notice whether or not you got, you know, the nice, cool, modern IDs that'll carry you through the game, or whether you just got shit luck and ended up with, you know, an account that you feel like you should have re-rolled earlier on. That's not great. It's not a great feeling. And if you get stuck with a lot of old IDs in newer content, you're going to have to wait and you're going to have to grind or, you know, get good. Getting good is, you know, always a thing you can do, but with Limbus's weird mechanics, I'm not even gonna say hard, because it's not necessarily a hard game. It's just hard to learn, is the thing. Oop. Man. Rambling more or less to myself is definitely interesting. I definitely want to do more collabs with people. I feel like that's where I'm at my best. But if I'm going to be doing Mirror Dungeon, I might as well be streaming, and if I'm streaming, I might as well be discussing. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how many people are watching. A couple. Yeah, if you guys have any comments on this or anything, I'd love to hear it. But I feel like there's a point I wanted to make a while back, but yeah. Oh, boom, boom, boom. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Balance in terms of... Mirror Dungeon is an interesting thing. I feel like a lot of identities, especially this season, are built around how they perform in Mirror Dungeon. And that's bad, because Mirror Dungeon is not a fun game mode anymore. It can be cool to just get the big numbers, but that's really all Mirror Dungeon has, is the wow factor of, you know, big numbers, get all the ego gifts, get to floor 15, go crazy. There's an appeal to it for a little while, but as the main game mode that most people are gonna be spending their time on, it's just not good, man. I will probably make another discussion on how I would personally revise Mirror Dungeon, even if it's not necessarily a realistic idea, because I feel like at this point it's kind of set. But still, it would be a fun theory crafting idea. Honestly, I'm running out of things to specifically say about game balance. I mean, both you guys know what game balance is. You know roughly how to balance a game. It is a fairly reasonable topic for you guys to understand. It's not exactly secret game design knowledge, but how would I fix balance? Well, for one, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Up tie 5, motherfuckers, please. Please, Kenji-hoon. Let me up tie 5. Please. I will write the kits for you, Kenji-hoon. Give it to me. I will learn to program if it means I get to implement up tie 5. I will do it all myself. Yeah. I do think, yeah, obviously the nature of a gacha game is to power creep. It has to happen eventually. In fact, to a degree, power creep is good. You know, it pushes the game forward, it adds new design space. The problem is, you know, just about every gacha game on the market has some way to make old units at least comparable. Some do it, some are more generous with it than others. But just about every single one of them doesn't want its units to fall by the wayside. except seemingly Limbus. They say it's made with the intent that, they say Kim Ji-hoon has said that he designs identities with the story in mind compared to its power level. That is bullshit for several reasons. I mean, just looking at Capo Merceau next to Thumb Sinclair, and you can see they are comparable in power level. Capo Merceau definitely has the edge, but if you're saying a Capo 4 is comparable to a Soldado 2 for story reasons, I'm calling bullshit. Also, on the same topic, is the general idea of ID scaling is incredibly flawed. You know, we got a Rabbit member at around the same time we got Pierre. And Pierre, nowhere near even the lowest level Rabbit. However, it's fine, lore-wise, because identities do not use the scaling of the original. They use the skill set, but not the actual power level. And that's a great way to explain how we can get, like, Nurse Father IDs at this point. And it is a great way to sort of keep the power level of all IDs consistent, is because, you know, level and uptie matters a lot more than the actual, you know, person it's based on. And that really is canon to the lore. It's explained in the item descriptions, it's explained in, really, Leviathan. We see Garnet use a Black Silence ID, among others, and he does not kick the Maestro's ass like a color fixer would. He specifically notes the identity is not able to keep up with his actual body, or his actual body is not able to keep up with the identity, and so he is significantly weaker. Still notably strong, but nowhere near the actual power of the Black Silence. So, I do not buy, to any degree, really, the idea that these identities need to be left behind for story reasons. That's just bullshit and contradicted by the story in multiple points. Anyway, that's slightly off topic, but it still speaks to the greater problem with identity design in Limbus. It's still something I think is worth noting. Okay. Oh, hope y'all are enjoying my ramblings. I have no idea what you're doing while you watch me, but for those of you who are sticking around, I hope you are being productive while listening to me in the background. That's probably the best use for these streams. That's how I would be tuning in. But yeah, power creep in gacha games is good to a degree. Pushes things forwards, makes new design space to interact with new, crazier mechanics. The main thing is, yeah, old units need to creep up, not to the same degree, but they need to at least still feel viable. They need to get new shiny things every now and then, even if it's just a numbers increase. I want to be able to use old IDs like Zva, Gregor. I want to be able to, you know, throw out the old Philip Sinclair, because that's an iconic identity. And, you know, he does still get support and stuff. He is a Walpurgis ID. He's not completely left behind, but when you have the option between the incredibly volatile Philip, who does not really get too many bonuses from being that volatile, and then you compare him to, you know, a fucking Soldado who has great single target damage and amazing clashing. It really feels bad for my man. Yeah, actual balance patches, I know why they don't do it, and I think, you know, the safety of the team definitely comes first over, you know, game balance, or even just, like, the pride of the team, but, man, I do wish we could get a few nerfs and stuff. Like, I don't need too many nerfs, but, like, there are specific things in this game that need to be nerfed specifically because they make future content worse. Like, Tremor Reverb. Tremor Reverb innately makes any new Tremor worthless, because a Tremor that is worse than Reverb will get thrown out. It will never be used, it will never be viable. But, if it's more powerful than Reverb, it's even more busted. Because Reverb is already busted. Project Moon has introduced how many at this point? I think it's just the 2. They've introduced the 2 different Tremor types that do different kinds of damage based on a combination of other statuses. And Hemorrhage sucks ass and is conceptually bad, but Scorch actually is pretty interesting. It's a nice combination of Burn and Tremor. But guess what? It's just a completely worse Reverb, unless you're against specific enemies that are, you know, Wrath weak and Sloth resistant. Yeah. Boom. I'm not even gonna bother with his gimmick. I'm just gonna kill him. So, I want new Tremor types that are interesting and also usable. But that's not going to happen as long as Reverb exists. So I want Reverb nerfed. Something like Malfaust, while I still want it nerfed, is a little more fine. Because while she is very good, she doesn't have anything that innately makes any other ID necessarily bad. She has fantastic numbers, and the ability to use her skill Thrive Return, which, you know, definitely makes an opportunity cost with any other Faust ID. But she does not innately limit the design space of anything going forward. It's sort of a similar thing with, like, Ebony Stem Otis, actually. Ebony Stem Otis really is not too powerful. It is a pretty good ego, specifically because of its passive. Its passive is really fucking good, giving you, essentially, infinite rupture count. Basically, any ID of hers will be automatically rupture neutral once that is activated, which makes any Otis ID very dangerous if you make it already have a good amount of rupture count. So, what needs to happen there is, even though it is not necessarily too powerful, it is too limiting for the future. So I think it needs a nerf. Another example of one that doesn't really need a nerf, even if it would be nice, is actually Ring Yi Sang. It is very strong. It is definitely not always fun to use, but it does not limit the design space of anything going forward. What's something that's weak but also limiting? Probably Old Talisman Sinclair is a good example. Old Talisman Sinclair, honestly, it's strong, but it was strong specifically because it was limited. The actual ID itself is not all too powerful. He's actually still in the game in his normal state with his crazy abilities and does, you know, not really see any play, despite the fact that he can still do all the same crazy things he could before. But his support passive is gone, which is very nice. It needed to die because you could actually very clearly see its effects on the design space of Rupture IDs in season, what would it be? 3 was Ishmael, so it would be 5. In season 5, you could very clearly see its effects on Rupture units as they were being made, which is why they needed to nerf it going into season 6, which was, you know, the Rupture season. That one was a lot more necessary than Malfaust, even though I still would have liked for the Malfaust nerfs to go through. Wow. Boom. All right. And I love Regret Faust. She's kind of boring in some ways, but I just can't deny how satisfying it is to just hit 3 motherfuckers. But yeah. Yeah, I want to use old IDs and not feel like I am completely crippling myself. They don't need to be anywhere near as good as the newer IDs. They just need to feel viable. And no, having the skin system is not a proper replacement for balancing your IDs, Kim Ji-hoon. You can't just slap another ID on, you know, fucking Index Yi-sang and say that it's, you know, a way to use your favorite IDs, because you're not using the favorite IDs. You're using the appearance of your favorite IDs, which is, you know, still nice. It's not a bad system to have, but it is not a fix for the actual problem. Boom. Alright. I think I've exhausted most of what I wanted to talk about. You think we'll get smoke in Limbus? I don't know. I mean, we technically have it with the Walpurgis event, but it is very much not available to players. I could see us getting it for like a specific ID gimmick or set of IDs. It most certainly would not be a, you know, common status, but I could see it being on specific IDs who are built around it. Like, you know, obviously, if we get, you know, Smiling Faces Walpurgis ID, or if we get, you know, Moses ID might have smoke, or it might just have, you know, its own effects. I don't know. But it is not impossible. But I also would not be counting on it.
의뢰비 인상에 대해서 대화를 나눠볼 만한 성과 아닌가요?
Man. I do want to talk some point about, you know, things I would do to Limbus if I had the opportunity. Like, what game modes would I make? How would I change Mirror Dungeon? What new, like, gameplay mechanics would I add? Smoke will become the angst status trust. Yeah, I am very curious about the sort of hidden in the code sin affinities. I have frankly no clue whether or not they actually are going to implement those, or if they're just something they considered at one point. From what I heard, there is still, like, they are still, like, deciding enemies' affinities towards those in the code. So, I guess that sort of implies that it is an eventually planned mechanic. They probably won't be like normal sin affinities, like, they might have their own, instead of generating sin resources, have their own gimmick of some kind. That's kind of how I would expect it to happen. Because I can't imagine them introducing this sin type that's only on a few specific characters, and then, you know, requiring it for certain ego. That would be weird. But having it be some other different gimmick would be neat. Having it not have any actual resources and just having it be a generally stronger type in exchange for that could be neat, but I would like something a little more unique. What do you think about Kinji-hoon making buffed versions of the characters like Finn or Yoon or other low-tier characters from Rune? Depends on the character. Most early game Runa characters are not really characters I would want IDs for. Like, Yoon is not interesting. Finn could be a fun, like, little bonus character, like how they did Fire Fist. But he, you know, in his Ruina kit, does not have anything too interesting. And giving them interesting things would kind of just be making it a different character at a certain point. So it's sort of a weird thing. But there are some characters like Lulu who would be really fun to have as an ID, and it's a shame we don't have them. Skin exclusive IDs, that's also a good way to use them. I think that's a much better place for most of them. Lulu might still be one that I'd want an actual ID for, but... I definitely have my problems with the skin system, but I'm glad it is mostly out of the way at this point. And they can focus on actual gameplay stuff. Obviously, the team that would be working on the skins does not necessarily have a huge overlap with the actual, like, content and design parts of the game, but, you know, it is still resources put to something that I think there are better options for. Jikan Heathcliff? Who's Jikan again? That a Stray Dogs guy? Okay. Doing my shop and then take a look at that. Boom. 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 He needs upgrade. Oh. Okay. Oh, rusted chain links. That's right. Yeah. Honestly. Yeah. Rusted chain links are not the most interesting. I do not mind not getting an idea of them, to be perfectly honest. God, I know it would probably never happen, but a carnival ID would be so sick. I would love to see the sinners as these horrible monstrosities. Self-bleed with like Giacana and the rusted chain links. It's only really an interesting mechanic when it comes to like Blood Feast. Otherwise, it's just a more roundabout way to, you know, do self-damage. Which is itself, you know, a decent ID gimmick. But it does not really add to a design space just on its own. Yeah. Boom. Bloodfiend IDs are weird in a design space because they are kind of their own thing, separate from a normal bleed team, but also kind of not. I do like the general idea of Blood Feast, and I think it's a really cool gimmick that I hope we get to see sometime without having to wait until Don Quixote gets another sort of spotlight. Bleed is just a weird status. I do hope they make more effects like gimmicks like Blood Feast. Not like in that, you know, you're storing damage to use as a resource, but more in just like the different ways in which you go about like having, you know, resources for your identities and stuff like that. They almost had a really cool idea with Deathrite, and then they fucking threw it away because Malfaust was too strong. Even though more Deathrite wouldn't actually make her all that more strong because she has a limit. Ugh. How do you think they will make charge more interesting? Oh boy, I don't know. They had a good thing going with charge potency, and then I feel like they haven't used it to the right extent, and it sucks. Thing is, it kind of needs to interact with other identities more, but also needs to remain self-fulfilling to some degree. And so it's just in this very awkward, weird spot. I do think the latest Hohenheim Gregor is a pretty interesting ID. I haven't gotten my hands on him yet. I will, I suppose, tomorrow. Oh, wait, this is a new event. Shit. That's a fun art. I like that. I have not seen a choice event art in a while that kind of got me like that. That's fun. Ooh, not good. Oh, okay. Not expect that. Yeah, Limbus has a really low design ceiling thanks to having potency and count. True. It's a really neat system. Unfortunately, it does lend itself to sort of cannibalizing itself. It very much wants to feed in with itself and only itself. Is how I would explain it. And that is not good. It does not leave a lot of room for messing with like the fundamentals and stuff. Because why would you care about fundamentals when you can deal 99 damage each hit if you manage to get your rupture up high? Like that's... Oh boy.
이래서 장비는 속성별로 준비해달라고 부탁해놨었지. 적재적소했으니까 이만큼 효율적인 일도 없잖아.
Everlasting is a fun eco. I haven't talked about this, but I do really like its effects. Trading your tremor type for more bursts for a little while. That's very fun. This is not actually TTRPG balancing. We're just talking about Limbus's game balance as a whole and sort of what I want to see out of it. You think they could do more for poise than just having 20 poise and then do more damage for the rest of the encounter? Yeah, there's definitely some design space they've been working with like Pinky Sinclair. He does some pretty fun stuff with poise, I think. Poise is also just weird because either you sustain poise or you don't. That's basically it. There's not a lot of room for interesting maneuverability there. Yeah, the best way to do fundamentals is challenge runs, which is a shame. I do think there are some hard bosses in the game that do also make you want to work with fundamentals, like pre-nerfed Li Hang and Ento 5 Ricardo. Yeah, and Merceau was a very good debuffer for me when I started the game. He was, I think, my first 3-star identity, and he worked really well for me, specifically because he was able to debuff challenging enemies. And you don't really get that anymore with, you know, how high numbers are inflated and how little, like, support most identities do. Most identities do not do support things very well anymore. They want to, you know, be self-sustaining and not really interact with the team much, which is a shame. I do like some of the identities, like, I mean, Thumb Sinclair is a good one, because he has, like, ammo support. Unfortunately, ammo is a very weird thing, because most ammo IDs don't actually give a damn about ammo anymore. Okay. Why is my stream preview so far behind? Jeez. Okay. Yeah, I really do like seeing challenge runs of people, like, actually putting the game's mechanics to use, because the game really does not encourage you to do that right now. God, tremor hemorrhage. My beloathed. Okay, why? Oh my god, I am doing nothing to this motherfucker. I have no damage. Okay, let's actually put an effort. Hang on. I gotta lock in. I got cocky. Boom, boom. You have no charge. We have not gotten anything of that sort. Okay. Just throw it out. Yeah, I do wish IDs and stuff focused a little more on sin affinities and stuff too. Like, I love Envy Res team, but unfortunately every other Resonance team is just a team of that, you know, status equivalent. Like, you know, a Gluttony team is always going to be a Rupture team, a Gloom team is always going to be a Sinking team, unless you were, you know, older Limbus, in which a Gloom team would actually be a Rupture team, because you had AEDD, which would, you know, really synergize with Gloom. So that was how you built up your Rupture stacks back in the day. I really like when IDs focus on sin affinities not normal to their status. Gluttony Resonance can be bleed? Maggots, yeah. Maggots, it's a neat effect. Unfortunately, I just don't think it's worth the payoff that you get. Which is a shame, but I do like that. Yes, I did forget maggots for a bit. Oh my god, you have... Oh jeez. Oh. This is what I get for not paying attention.
한눈 팔지 마세요. 메말은 당신
Boom, boom, and boom.
반드시 밀려올
Oh my god. Oh, that's because of the contract, right? Oh yes, all of the defense skills becoming the color of their status. Oh my god, I hate that. Like, it's good that there is some association and that a good number of IDs can do it. The problem is when it becomes everyone. Yeah. It's not whether or not it's worth it, it's whether or not it's fun. I can sort of agree, but also, in order to be fun, it should be kind of worth it. Like, it doesn't need to be as good, but it does need to feel viable, and not like you're putting in a ton of work for, you know, a little bit of reward. Force the door open. Okay, so it's the same gift. Got it.
잠깐만, 천천히.
True damage is worth? Not when there are other crazier methods of true damage. There is so much fucking true damage in this game. So... I mean, I guess technically with all of like the status resisting passives there are nowadays, maybe that's not entirely true. But is maggots actually true damage or is it gluttony damage? Yeah, Lust Resonant Rupture also is a thing.
제압 완료.
Yeah, maybe one of these days I'll do more of an interesting run than just throwing a team together, but really, the Mirror Dungeon part of these streams is just background. That's all it really is.
탈출 개체 확인.
직원들의 증오심 환상체를 쳐죽이는 원동력.
최선의 방어를.
Yeah, maggots is gluttony. Like, yeah. Cool. Yeah, I do wish we had more of these like sub-statuses, like, you know, maggots or curse. Stuff that doesn't show up often, but I wish it did show up occasionally, like on more IDs and ego. Like hurting teddy bear has a really cool curse effect where it basically just does all 4 curse effects at once. That's really neat. I wish we had that on an ID or an ego. I wish I could build a curse team. Let me build a curse team, Kim Ji-hoon. Please. Venom's good. Are you talking about the Venom from the Centipede ego? That's a neat effect. I like that one. I kinda wish they just gave us actual poison though. The fact that they haven't is staggering. Ugh. Boom. Boom. More burn variants, so I just can take a break. Yeah, more ways for burn to pay off. We seem to be getting that this Kanto. We're not quite there yet, though. Boom, boom, boom.
대검의 머리
다른 부서에 있는 애고까지 가져오길 잘했지.
Boom.
적재적소했으니까
바람
이만큼
들어오는
효율적인
대로.
일도 없잖아.
짓밟아라. 여기가 위약점인가? 자세가 모르겠니? 자비에 감사하도록.
상황이
한바탕
끝나면
해볼까?
뒷거리
어.
세우게. 방금 상황 녹화되어 있냐고 물어봐.
Oh,
이 정도면
boy.
젤라니 모델을 증명할
Here I go killing again.
자세가 모르겠니?
토끼 따위의 형님이
자비에
필요하지
감사하도록.
않다는 거지.
Yeah. Yeah, this season does seem to be, you know, a burn season, but burn is a lot harder to just slot into things, so it also very much has a poise and sinking sub-theme.
내가 부서지고 파괴되어도 다시 교체되는 것처럼. 이 얼마나
Which I'm fine with.
그지
I just do hope burn doesn't get, you know, left too far behind the other statuses. Do I need you? Not really, no. You're nice.
목표 위치로 돌격 중.
Red Riding Hood, Mercenary, and Big and Bad will be bad Wolf as IDs, and you have to manage them or they'll kill each other or other team members. Yeah, that'd be fun. They're gonna do Crimson Scar and Cobalt Scar IDs eventually. I can feel it, but it might be about a little while.
기한만 있으면
Oh.
충분히 풀 수 있어.
Honestly, I could easily see that being next Lob Corp Walpurgis, though. You know, one little pet peeve of mine about Walpurgis is everyone heard, like, Kim Ji-hoon was considering the, you know, sort of in-between no story Walpurgises, and they just immediately thought that they were implementing that right off the bat, instead of it just being something they were considering.
다른 부서에 있는
That was very annoying, hearing everyone talk about, oh, but, you know, next Walpurgis is gonna be a non-story one, so are we never getting Ruin a story again? And it's like, no. No, of course we're getting Ruin a story. They're not doing the thing yet. They have not said that they're doing the thing, they've said that they're looking to do the thing. Anyway, that's my tangent. ID that summoned an AI-controlled ally would be nice. That's an interesting design space, because, I mean, it's a hard one to use and implement, right? Like, that just kinda breaks the space of the game in some ways, but they could get it to work. That would be pretty fun. I'm just, you know, skeptical that it would function properly.
힘으로 찍어 누르는 거라면 내가 할 수 있어. 하지만 저런 복잡한 관리법은 관리자
빠르게
당신이
처리하지.
판단해야 해.
I'm interested to see what next season's gimmicks will be. I'm surprised there wasn't like a Blood Feast or Death Rite sort of thing in this season. There's not really anything that quite works like that. Though they do seem to be doing some more of the like panic type stuff, which is nice. That I like to see. I just hope they don't lean too far into it. Favorite Vav Nico? Ooh. I mean, I like Contempt Awe. I like Blind Obsession.
살고자 하는 모든 것들과 함께
What do I think about the Ring Duo? I said this earlier. I think you were there for it.
친절하게 대할 생각.
I think they're probably gonna be pretty neat, but it is still weird to me that Callisto went to Hong Lu instead of Merceau, because he felt like a very Merceau ID sort of character.
색색이 황홀하고. 아예.
Building defense power / defense level for next season. That's fun. Whole Zwei team, I assume, or focus on that anyway. Also, like well, you'd have to pick between Zwei Ishmael and Captain Ishmael, because Captain Ishmael has some decent synergy with the Zwei, just due to her skill 1.
속삭
싸울 수 없으면 걸리적거리지
Boom.
말고 비켜.
빠르게 처리하지.
Am I on floor 5 or floor 4? I don't remember. I haven't been keeping track. I've been talking to you guys. Ah. Okay. Don't have Zweish. Interesting. I always forget that not everyone has just, you know, free reign of all the IDs. I have been playing for a while. Oh. No, don't stagger. Yeah, she also doesn't... Yeah, she doesn't spread it, but she makes very good use of it. So you kind of have to pick between that. Bonk. Bonk.
힘으로 찍어 누르는 거라면 내가 할 수 있어. 하지만 저런 복잡한 관리법은 관리자, 당신이 파악하고 판단해야 해.
Let's do you.
위험인물 발견. 제압할게요.
Oh, you purposefully never grabbed her? Damn, why do you gotta do my captain like that?
두려워하지 마.
Crazy. I think she's a really fun ID. She's honestly one of the better designed ones. I do wish she had a little more poise in her kit, but...
예전이었다면 별것 아니었겠지만
Do you think we'll fight some association or something in the future? I'm surprised we haven't already, frankly.
제대로 이해하지 못하면
But
죽는다.
I think it's pretty much inevitable. I mean, they've teased it a couple of times, like in the checkup intervallo. They have flirted with the idea. They just, you know, haven't had a story reason to do so just yet.
여기서 멈출 필요 없어. 우리는 충분히 계속 싸울 수 있으니까.
Her defense level payout is less than Kira Ish's? Oh yeah, counterattacks and stuff, I suppose, yeah. Maybe I'll give that team a try at some point. It sounds fun.
힘으로 찍어 누르는 거라면 내가 할 수 있어. 하지만 저런 복잡한 관리법은 관리자, 당신이 파악하고 판단해야 해.
태어난 곳으로 돌아가라.
Woo!
최선의 방어를.
자세가 무너졌네.
감이 온다.
What?
피할 수 있으면 지금 피해. 저거
Not staggered.
멀어지면
처리하지.
죽는다.
Ugh. Why does Tremor Team have to be bad? Why can't Tremor Team be good in Mirror Dungeon, please?
이 정도 상황에 오는 소리야는 나약한 직원 징계팀이 없어. 그러니 최선을 다해 관리자. 내 몸이 부서지고 직원들이 죽는 건 상관없지만 그게
What do you think about green coins and how they might affect the game in the future? Honestly, green coins don't really matter too much to me, and I'll tell you why. One, they probably won't be given to us because they would literally make certain bosses non-functional, which means it's gonna be an enemy-only effect. And it is an enemy-only effect that really does not affect much, because it just means that your coins aren't actually unbreakable, and that's about it. It basically just removes the unbreakable part from unbreakable coins.
직원 하나가 죽었군. 하지만
Oh boy.
슬프다고 질질 짜거나 애도할 필요는 없. 직원들이 전멸했군. 이 장면을 똑똑히
Yeah,
기억해.
green coins I don't think will matter hugely. If we do get them, like I said, it will literally break certain bosses, but it would not also be the end of the world. Aside from that, essentially, like, if they decide they want it, fair enough. Far be it from me to say that the game doesn't function properly without it, but I do not think it is likely that we will get them. And for bosses, it's just a gimmick. It just means no unbreakables, which is not the end of the world. Unbreakables are not even a super powerful thing in the first place. They are a consolation prize. No. Yeah, I hope they don't lean it too hard into coin types that don't actually do much. If they're gonna add a new coin type, it needs to fulfill a very specific niche. Because unbreakable coins were there for a very specific purpose. Which is to, you know, actually allow enemies to hit you. And be a threat even if you're winning clashes. And I think that was a very good decision. I think unbreakable coins got a bad rep in Kanto 7 just because they were used with way too much bleed, and I think they've overcorrected that, and a lot of unbreakables now are not as scary as they should be. But overall, I think they're in a mostly fine space. I do not agree with Kim Ji-hoon's statement that unbreakables should not increase difficulty. They should. That was very much the solution they solved, is that the game was too easy, and now it's not quite as easy anymore because unbreakables exist. And that's good. Especially with the new continue feature, it means the game can get harder and harder, and players won't be left behind, which is nice. Project Moon animations have gotten great recently. Like, they've always been pretty good, but some new IDs have crazy shit, and I love it. And enemies. I looked through Ezra's sprites for a video I'm doing, and she has the best fucking sprites, man. Absolutely amazing golden retriever energy. I love her.
힘으로 찍어 누르는 거라면 내가 할 수 있어. 하지만 저런 복잡한 관리법은 관리자 당신이 파악하고
Yeah, they do just give out unbreakables in weird ways. IDs don't really need too many unbreakables because you're not, you know, trying to lose clashes. Even if you do think you're gonna lose, it's generally better to go unopposed. Let's do some of dip.
예측할 수 없게.
You know, I should have taken Faith, now that I realize. Because this guy is messing up my sanity. Yeah, Elsie Yisang is a very interesting kid. I love him. How do you think BM anime would go? They've said what they would want to do for like an animated series. Smoke War is the main idea, but it would definitely not just be an adaptation of the games, because the games use the fact that they are games to tell their story. It is not like there is a game and then there is the story of the game. The game is the story, and you cannot really adapt it into a different medium. But there are stories to be told in these different mediums. Like, you know, the Smoke War. Or, you could also have, like, a Roland anime about, like, him and his wife, and how they, sort of came to be where they ended up.
그렇지 않고서야 이런 황당한 선택을 할 리가 없는데.
하고들 시간이다. 잔우에.
Boom.
복을 구하고 싶다면 정성을 들여 빌어보시오.
Woo! That is damage. Yeah, I'm not doing all that much to this guy. Oh boy. I need my SP, please.
우리 부서의 직원 숫자가 월등히 적은 것에는 다 이유가 있지만
Okay.
그만큼 탁월하다는 뜻도 된다는 점을 명심해주면 좋겠어.
Need you. And you. You. Yeah, cheap ego.
하고들 시간이다. 잔우에.
Yeah, Project Moon as an anthology, I think, would be really nice. We definitely have a lack of, like, small-scale stories in this world, so I would love an anthology. Yeah, the shield passive is definitely the one I'm going for next. But I just needed my SP so I can clash. Use ego and stuff like that. Woo.
모든 업은 다시 돌아와. 네 머리
Yeah,
위에
Distortion Detective was fun, having a different perspective on the city. I have a video about Distortion Detective that I'm halfway through editing because I got stuck, because what do you show in a video about Distortion Detective besides just the artwork?
처럼 복잡한 관리법은 관리자 당신이 파악하고 판단해야 해.
Ugh. Boy, do I love creative burnout. Woo. Which finger do you think will come to the House of Spiders in the next new Intervallo? Probably the Index. We need to actually see the Index in full, besides just, you know, the House of Spiders. If it's not the Index, it's probably the middle. I do think the middle will show up regardless, though. Like, even if they're not the main focus, they're gonna have some sort of focus.
무덤으로 돌아가라. 속삭.
Woo!
자세가 모르겠네.
Follow-up attacks!
예전이었다면 별것 아니었겠지만 지금은 나는 저걸 막아줄 수 없어. 피할 수 있으면 피해. 제대로 대응하지 못하면 한바탕 해볼까?
Get Wishing Cane. I don't use this ego much. Get exactly what it does. Seems to be sloth fragility, I believe. Sloth protection.
정성을 들여
I don't know if it
빌어보시오.
does much beyond that.
판매가 여기서 멈출 필요 없어. 우리는 충분히 계속 싸울 수 있으니까. 시끄러워! 계속 싸울 수 있다고 했잖아. 왜이 비련참하고 놈들은 내 마음대로 움직이질 않는 건데?
Boom. There we go.
왜?
빠르게 처리하지.
Oh, man, this is a lot harder than I thought. I don't know why Hohenheim is kicking my ass. I guess Tremor Team was just not the team to throw into this. At least not without a plan. It'd also probably help if I had backup IDs.
너무 못 만나섰나? 미련
But instead, I've chosen to struggle, apparently.
메마른 당신에게 파도는 반드시 밀려올 테니
Oh, I won't need any more than 7 IDs. Mirror Dungeon is easy. Nefarious Hohenheim behind the corner.
허술하군.
Oh boy.
살고자 하는 모든 것들과 함께 무덤으로 돌아가라.
겹겹의
직원 하나가 죽었고
뚫어보이기.
I wonder what the maximum potential number of skills that can be used in one turn is. Like the absolute theoretical limit.
탕.
자세가 무너졌네.
Now, I don't actually have enough tremor counts, so tremor is actually getting reset every now and then. That sucks. What floor am I in? I actually don't remember. I don't know if it's 4 or 5. It might be 5, because I think when the event is going, it's always the last floor, maybe? But I could be wrong.
적질났나.
나는 힘으로 찍어 누르는 제압에 초점이 맞춰져 있지. 저런 복잡한 문제까지 파악하는 건 적성에 안 맞거든.
자세가
관리자,
무너졌네.
당신이 판단해야 해.
Boom.
허술하군.
When did you get the 99 tremor?
살고자 하는 모든 것들과 함께
Explode.
무덤으로 돌아가.
Not quite. Oh, so low. There we go. Okay.
있는 힘껏 찔러놓고 으깨놨지만 저것들은 언젠가 다시 재생하겠지. 내가 부서지고 파괴되어도 다시 교체되는 것처럼. 이 얼마나 완벽하기 그지없는.
I don't know why tremor would be hard to understand for you, because I feel like it's pretty simple, but... I mean, you go in, you burst enemies, and you win or lose. See if we can fight Lucio. But that means I'm gonna have to fight the mannequins. Fuck. I did not think this through.
제압을 준비합니다.
얌전히 잠들어 있어야 할 놈들까지 눈을 떠버렸나?
일기당천.
아득한 여정. 멈추지 않는 시대에서 희망과 미래를 찾아 스스로 다가가시길.
Woo!
태어난 곳으로 돌아가라.
결정, 해분, 초월, 지령에게 불확실한 것은 없고
일기당천.
보다시피 직원들의 증오심은 환상체를 쳐죽이는 원동력이.
빈틈투성이고.
저 눈들. 마음속에
How do you think they should make tremor hemorrhage better? Instead of making it shittier tremor scorch, make it a tremor type that just gives bleed count when you tremor burst, like what Gregor's effect does.
징계팀 직원이라면
Tremor hemorrhage just is conceptually flawed because it's just always worse than just letting bleed proc. Like, not always, but most of the time it is worse than letting bleed just proc on its own. And it sucks. Tremor Scorch at least benefits from the fact that Burn doesn't get a lot of triggers. I should have been more careful with that. it doesn't work, man.
방심했고
It is just a shittier Tremor Scorch because, you know, Burn has trouble getting its triggers off. Bleed does not. Bleed has trouble with too many triggers, and so you have just added more triggers to Bleed, which is the opposite of what it needs to actually work. It does nothing. It solves nothing. Okay, let's... Don't we have many healing egos, guys. Hit him with everything. Go, go, go!
처리하지.
Add potency to bleed stack. Honestly, that's not bad. Yeah, that works too. That can be a nice way to make it pay off a little more.
아프잖아.
모든 업은 다시 돌아와 네 머리 위에 내려질 것이다.
Yeah, Rupture and Sinking, there's a reason they're the best, and it's because they have the most easy to make out-of-hand base design. Their basic design is hit people, do more damage, get stack up, be able to do it more. They're not screwed over by any real enemies, except for Sinking, which honestly has not had near as much of a problem recently, thanks to all of the new status effects that you can put on, but ugh. They need to balance Rupture and Sinking count a lot better. Make it more conditional, motherfuckers! Make it so you actually have to work to get it to pay off, but you can get it to reliably pay off. Ugh.
아득한 여정. 멈추지 않는 시대에서 희망과
Whee!
스스로
Go, 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 Calcit. I do not know Arknights. I know she is scientist and she has monster. And other things that I think are more spoilers.
제압 완료.
이것 봐. 환상체를 제압하는 건 우리만
Yeah, Burn and Bleed are pretty much the same, but the only difference is Burn happens after turn, and that, in many ways, makes them completely different. Even just the activation effect being different is a crazy difference, because it completely changes what both statuses need and how they end up playing.
여기가 네 약점인가?
Rupture? Rupture is funny because, you know it's the best status when every other status effect slowly becomes more Rupture-like in order to keep up. Ever get anything about Vermilion Cross? I think that's a really good idea for a Walpurgis. I think late game Walpurgis, absolutely, but that would absolutely be the way to expand on a figure that should be pretty major, but is really just throwaway at the end of the day.
돌아가라.
Yeah.
살고자 하는 모든 것들과 함께 무덤으로 돌아가라.
자세가 무너졌네. 자비에 감사하다.
Yeah. Yeah, Rupture needed Talisman to die in order to be actually good and interesting. And good fucking riddance to that guy.
마음 놓고 열어줬지만
지발리에 의뢰했다면
허술하군. 자비에 감사하다.
탈출 개체가 정리되었습니다.
Hit them, hit them.
가끔 있는 힘껏 찔러놓고 으껴놨지만 저것들은 언젠가 다시 재생하겠지. 내가 부서지고 파괴되어도 다시 교체되는 것처럼.
I'm interested to see what the new ring identities have in their kits. Obviously bleed. I wonder if they will actually have, you know, their proper unique charge or not. That's going to be interesting to see. And,
실력은 절대적이라네.
yeah, other than that, I don't know what their gimmick would be. Obviously, Albania probably would have 2 phases. Bleed and Tremor. Interesting. It's possible. The mannequins are themselves Bleed and Tremor. They just don't have anything on that in their enemy versions, but obviously they don't always line up. So, it is possible. That is all the support you're gonna get from me, though.
조명이 전멸하는 저곳으로 파도가 모든 것을 쳐부술 거다. 태어난 곳으로 돌아가라.
결정, 해동, 초월, 지령에게 불확실한 것은 없네.
If rupture, more rupture. Yeah, pretty much.
위험한 상처를 쳐죽이는 원동력. 당장이라도 갈아 마시려는 저 눈빛.
Ugh. Ugh.
여기서 멈출 필요 없어.
Boy, I love taking damage. I love base 11 unbreakable coins. That's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh. Man, this stream is running long. Hohenheim kicked my ass. But, oh well. I have nothing else to really do today.
빠르게 처리하지.
I do like unbreakables in general, but this is not a good application of them. I mean, it's not punishing you for winning a clash. You very much would be taking a lot more damage if you didn't win the clash. So it's not punishing you for winning, it's just making sure you can't just win and be done with it. But this is not the best application, specifically because of Mirror Dungeon shenanigans.
제압개체에게 맞는 공격 수단도 못 고르면서 왜 징계팀이 남아있지?
Whoa. What the fuck? I've never seen it do quite that. You think we'll get a Ricardo ID in the Nocturnal Sweeping? I think so. I think that's the most likely option. I don't... Heisho Way Adepts. I don't think so. I think Ricardo is much more likely, because, you know, this is the time to get him, now that we're having, like, you know, the fucking Nurse Fathers. So, having Ricardo be after all the Nurse Fathers would just be crazy. Yeah, Sloshing-ish as a concept, as well as Lantern. Very interesting. I just wish they actually had good payoffs for it. The real question is, are we getting a second bamboo-hatted Kim ID in the second intervallo for this season? That would be interesting. I think it's more likely to be Moses and Ezra IDs, though, because they are within the range of IDs we could realistically get.
찔러놓고 으깨놨지만 저것들은 언젠가 다시 재생하겠지. 내가 부서지고 파괴되어도 다시 교체되는 것처럼. 이 얼마나 완벽하게 그지없는 나만의 지옥인가.
Boom. Okay. Not much here. Are we going to actually get to fight Lucio? Or is it just going to be fucking Shoxin? Lantern does have decent payoff, yeah. Ah, fuck you! I just fought you earlier.
보다시피 직원들의 증오심은 환상체를 쳐죽이는 원동력이야. 당장이라도 바라마시려는 저 눈빛 마음에 들어.
탈출계 제
I'm gonna throw myself into the ocean.
하나 넘고 둘 넘고 거꾸로 제쳐라.
Oh yeah, we've gotta get an Ezra idea at some point. She is way too fun not to, and would make a great Rhodia. Or Don Quixote, but I think Rhodia fits better.
모든 것을 쳐부술 거다.
They both work, but Rhodia keeps the silhouette and also has a lot of relevance with like the whole facade thing. Don Quixote does too, but not quite in the same way.
원망도 미친 게 소용이 없었으니 그지 무언가를 잡으려 애썼을 뿐.
징계팀 직원이라면 당연한 판단이긴 해.
Yeah. I think Vespa, because he is a color fixer, will definitely be way later down the line, but Moses and Ezra are within a reasonable range.
이래서 장비는 속성별로 준비해달라고 부탁해놨었지.
필연자
적재적소했으니까 이만큼 효율적인 일도 없잖아.
I am interested to see who would be Moses.
얌전히 참
Otis is an obvious, thought. Not bad. She very much does have, you know, the whole smoke war thing going on.
파고들 시간이다. 잔무에
마음 놓고 열어젖히고
Honestly, they could do Distortion Detective Vespa for Walpurgis. Maybe, but I don't feel like there really is enough significant difference between the two is the thing.
빈틈 투성이군. 스틸레터. 허술하고
이거 봐. 환상체를 제압하는 건 우리만으로 충분하잖아.
Bonk, bonk, bonk.
죽지도 않는 것들이 겁을 집어먹다니.
Okay, how much tremor? A lot of tremor on the body. We have tremor hemorrhage on the wings. Okay. Cool.
위험인물 발견.
I think we're fine for the rest of this encounter. I think we've got it.
자세가 모르겠네. 허술하군. 자비의 감사.
Woo! Okay. Oh. Oh, that's right. It's one after the other. I completely forgot. Hello, Lucio. Okay, let's do that. Explore book hunters more? That's an interesting idea. The thing about, bad end wall purchases is it kind of misrepresents a lot of the story to, players. Obviously, they probably address that in the actual event itself, but... Next, Kanto's Faust story. No, it is Merceau. It is Merceau, then Otis, then Faust. It's the order they introduce themselves in the start of the game. I can see why you thought that, though, because we have the Faust foreshadowing, with the whole Gesellschaft scene, but... That is just foreshadowing her way down the line.
살고자 하는 모든 것들과 함께 무덤으로 돌아가라. 경고하는데 저것들을 친절하게 대할 생각 집어치우는 게 좋을 거야. 세 손의 방어를. 좋아, 이대로 다 끝장내는 거야. 한 번에 터뜨리지 마. 알로 돌아갈 때까지 최대한 아파하게 만들라고. 위험인물 발견. 제압할게요.
오케이. 뻥.
속수. 지겹고 이 몸이 직접 손봐야겠는데.
결정, 해준, 초월, 지령에게
우리 부서의
불확실한
직원
것은 없네.
숫자가 월등히 적은 것에는 다 이유가 있지만 뭐 그만큼 탁월하다는 뜻도 된다는 점을
Strategy.
좋겠어.
We don't need strategy here, we have win rate. No, this is not hypocritical. Why do you ask?
마음 놓고 열어졌지. 바람 불어오는 대로
Oh boy.
짓밟아라.
You think we'll get Mong IDs? Yeah, I don't know why they don't put Mong on the IDs,
무덤으로
just for animations or anything. I mean, maybe there's some sort of Mong system they want to use, or maybe it's just they want Mong to actually be a mechanical thing, but they haven't figured out how they want to do it on IDs yet. I don't know.
여기서 멈출 필요 없어. 우리는 충분히 계속 싸울 수 있으니까.
You think we'll get more information on the ring with Kanto 10? Yeah, probably not. Well, actually no, sorry. I completely forgot that the ring does actually have connections to N-Corp through Leviathan. But I don't think it was relevant in sort of that way, if that makes sense. I don't think it was sense that they're like fully teaming up. I think they just happened to be going for the same thing at that point, but I could be wrong.
시끄러워! 계속 싸울 수 있다고 했잖아! 진짜 이 빌어처먹을 몸뚱이는 내 마음대로 움직이질 않는 건데 도대체 왜?
Throw out the unbrilliant glory.
예측할 수 없게.
복을 구하고 싶다면 정성을 들여 빌어보시오.
Now, the index IDs are pretty fun. Yeah, definitely more poise IDs than sinking IDs, but...
이 검은, 이 명예는, 이 영광은 이빨이지.
그대는 친절하지.
자세가 무너졌네.
모든 업은 다시 돌아와 네 머리 위에 내려질 것이다. 모두가 말한 위험인물 발견. 방어적인 택이 확실히 전면전보다 피해.
바람 불어오는 대로
이래서야
짓밟아라.
있는 힘껏 찔러놓고 으껴놨지만 저것들은 언젠가 다시 재생하겠지. 내가 부서지고 파괴되어도 다시 교체되는 거지.
Okay,
이 얼마나
so,
완벽하게 그지없는
cancel that.
모처럼 괜찮은
That,
뉴스를
okay.
보냈더니
Yeah, this has been fun.
벌써 뭐
Nice little way to pass the time when I'm playing Mirror Dungeon. Hopefully I'll get better at doing these and can have more in-depth discussions that I can actually post onto YouTube as their own videos, but until then, you get my rambling, and hopefully you like it. Alright, let's grab the fruits of our labors. Boom, boom. There we go. Okay. Let's take a quick look at whatever's... Yeah, I saw this one on Reddit earlier. Are we ever gonna leave this place? That's fun. Then, ego. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Cool. Anyway, I will see you all next Sunday, probably, but I might also have a video out in between them.